Previously on Business Over Beer.
Dude, I met Joe from Old Town Brewing, and he said it's a great idea. And he also said he'd be a guest. Thank you for being here, Joe.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. We were looking for investors and things like that, and it just didn't happen in time. And so we had to shelf it about 2 years in, which was a very tough decision, but I feel like it was one of those things that it was a good lesson, like it was, I was 25, 26, learning the business, and Hazy's here to stay. Okay. We did not think that at first, but the data's in, the news is in, the consumer reports are in, like people are buying hazies, they're drinking hazies. It was like this is gonna be the end all be all, but the clean IPAs are making a comeback, pale ales are making a comeback, lagers are making a comeback, but hazies are still here to stay.
Welcome to Business Over Beer, where entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people passionate about what they do bring us their stories and their favorite beer. Hosted by Ben Surratt, Jonathan Kaler, and Jason Cantaloupe, it's time to get down to business and drink some beer.
Can we drink beer?
Is there more beer? Let's do it.
Oh my goodness, man.
Because I have a question.
Yes, I'm sorry. So Joe, and for everybody listening, every segment or every podcast, we have a segment called Angie's Mystery Beer. And you met my lovely wife, Angie.
Yes. So
she always picks out a mystery beer. I have no idea what's in here. She said she was going to be funny and do an Old Town, but she said, "No, I'm not going to do that." So, would you like to open it? Would you like to open Angie's Mystery Beer?
So are we guessing?
No. Oh boy.
Ripe and juicy, middle IPA, Silver City Brewing. Very nice.
Yeah, by the way,
8%, boys. Let's drink up.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm just going to pass it around.
I was going to ask you, and I asked you this when we met at the Tap Takeover. Why are there not many black brewers out there? I mean, I know you're not a brewer.
Yeah.
But why? I mean,
it's safe to say he went down a different road than I was going to go down with the question.
No, I'm sorry. But the only reason why I'd asked is because we talked about that. I'm half black, so I mean, I just never see them. Like, what is going on with that?
I don't know. It's any industry, right? Any industry just takes time. You need people to kind of kick doors down and just get in the industry and just do it, right? And just see more faces and more prevalent. And the next thing you know, some other black kid says, "Oh, I saw that Joe guy. Like, I want to work for a brewery." For whatever reason, there's just some professions and industries that young black kids don't think they should be pursuing. Even if they think it's cool, they'd just be like, "Oh, well, beer industry maybe not for me." But I think all that's changing. It's beer's for everyone.
It really is.
It brings people together, and black people love beer.
Exactly.
And it's like I think in the South, there's other hang-ups involved as far as like just. There's a lot of good old boy clubs, and like they really limit all people, black, white doesn't matter, like who gets to open anything in the South, and so a lot of that's changing. So all of a sudden there's black-owned breweries that are popping up, white-owned breweries that are popping up, but people from backgrounds that weren't a part of the club, or part of some important family, that only got to do things in the South. It's one of those things about the South. It's just kind of, even though the South is so multicultural now, it's like. On the political side of things, on the bureaucracy side, there's just a lot of things that they put the brakes on for no reason. It's a part of the Bible Belt. My dad was a minister; he is a minister.
Wow.
In the Bible Belt, they just say, they don't want 250 breweries and weed dispensaries all over the place in Nashville, Tennessee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know, where it would totally work in Nashville, but it probably wouldn't work in, you know, Huntsville, you know, Alabama, or, you know, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Maybe Murfreesboro, but Murfreesboro's pretty liberal. But you know, like maybe even like Knoxville, right? Like it's just the people who are in control when someone's applying for this or that, and they just say, no, we don't need another brewery. We don't need another thing.
Wow.
So it's been hard, but all that stuff is starting to become lax, and so you're starting to see more and more happen. And I think around the country, that will elevate everyone's opportunities, right? And everyone's interest, right? So a young black kid from Nashville might say, well, there's breweries all over the place now.
Yeah.
I want to be a brewer. I want to be in the brewing industry. Like, this seems cool, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe it just wasn't cool enough when we were growing up. You know, I think it wouldn't have been cool enough for me if I had stayed in Tennessee. I think living in Boulder and doing what I did and being around another great beer culture piqued my interest in brewing and the brewing industry. You know, that wasn't on top of my list. you know, when I moved to Colorado.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just times are changing. Things are good. I do have a funny story though. I was at Ben Brewfest last year. Okay, and Firestone Walker just hired. No, he'd been working for Firestone Walker. He was living in California, and they moved him up to Oregon to be a rep up here as a black guy. Okay, and you know, we're at the Ben Brewfest, we're drunk, everybody's hanging out, it was a big party, and he just comes and he taps me on my shoulder. And I turn around, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, you must be Joe. And I was like, I looked at him and I just busted out laughing because I knew exactly what he was saying. And he was like, dude, I've had like 10 people be like, Joe, what's up? And he was like, because we were like the only two black people at this entire festival. And he had it wasn't even Old Town, but he had a brewery shirt on, you know. And they're like, oh, that must be Joe, you know. We don't look anything alike. We're different heights, the whole deal. And he's like, dude, I've had like 10 people be like, oh, what's up, Joe? You must be Joe. And so he just tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, you gotta be Joe. You know?
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's cool.
On that note,
Yeah.
Silver City Brewery,
Oh,
ripe
man.
and juicy.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Yeah, guys,
boys.
Yeah, but it's all good, man. It's all changing. Hopefully, I'm helping change that, right? Hopefully,
You
just
are,
people seeing my
100%.
face, you know.
Holy cow.
Cantaloupe, what do you think of the
That's
ripe
not
and
bad.
juicy?
That's not bad
You
at
know, as
all.
you guys know, I'm more on the side of the lighter beers, the pilsners. I was very happily surprised with Old Town Pillow Fist. It was delicious.
Thank you.
I think when
appreciate
you
that.
said that you're kind of targeting the people who wouldn't normally drink that, would normally
Yeah.
be on the lighter side of things.
Yeah.
That's delicious. It was perfect. It wasn't overpowering, which a lot of times when you taste the IPAs or heavy duty ones, it's much, and that was delicious. And this actually
Thank
isn't
you.
bad either. I like this as
No,
well.
it's not.
I like it. For me, the bitterness and the fruit are not balanced. They're very separate. You get the
Yep.
fruit and then you get the bitter versus the Pillow Fist, which was much more refined, where this is very much one thing and then something else. It's very separated, but it tastes good. It's refreshing.
I think the two hardest things for brewers to do and do consistently are to create, a beautiful, awesome, decent lager, and to create a drinkable, non-boozy, balanced, double, triple, anything above basically 8% IPA.
Correct.
Because like you just said, like you get everything there. You get the fruit, you get the bitterness, but it's hard. Things can start going awry on you when you go on the high ABV and it starts tasting a little boozy, and that affects maybe how bitter it is, maybe how much fruit you're getting. So it's a challenge to make these kind of big beers. When they're done right, they're done right. I mean, I really like this beer.
It's good.
but
But you hit it.
It's tough.
Jonathan.
It's
You
tough.
got it, Kaler. It's even the nose is different than what my palate's going to take. It's very different.
Yeah.
It's fruity. It smells fruitier.
Yeah, I'm getting orange. And,
Yeah, orange.
this is if I'm gonna drink a double IPA, I'd drink this. This is great.
Yeah.
What is it about the Portland brewery community specifically? And I have this question actually written down, but now that I know how much time you spend in Colorado, which is another special brewing community.
Yeah.
But what is it specifically about the Portland brewing community that makes it so special?
One, it's our location. We've got the best hops in the world, and I think that lends to wanting to embrace that culture, embrace that side of your region, the Pacific Northwest, right? It's just like, Californian wine and us with wine now, it's like we grow some of the best grapes, so let's take pride in grapes and let's throw it out there in everybody's face to see, and I think some of the early innovators in the craft brewing industry were in Portland, and I think, and that helped spur on that movement. Then also, our slogan, keep Portland weird, right? Like that'll send you in a million different rabbit holes right there, right? Keep Portland weird, when people really start to embody that and embrace that, a lot of fun things can happen, right? And I think this place just the Northwest in general just embraces fun and embraces the exciting things about life and culture and the things that we all love, whether we want to admit it or not, and we just ramp it up, right? And I think it then attracts brewers from other places, and they want to be here. I mean, our brewer, he was on the East Coast. He was at Sam Adams for 9 years.
Whoa, no way.
He was the head of research and development for Sam Adams for 9 years. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he is. I love every brewer that I know and have met. For the most part in this town, but I would say apples to apples, he is the most talented brewer in the state of Oregon. And I'm totally biased on that, but like his wealth of knowledge, I don't know how many people can say they have, right? I mean, he was able to tinker and play on an endless budget for 9 years, right? And refine his skills and, take any ingredients and mix them together and say, does this work? Nope. Flush it down the drain, didn't matter. How expensive from whatever part of the world or region, doesn't matter. Let's try it. Utopia's line, he's responsible for that. He designed some of their breweries. He was an engineer before he started brewing. He's a scientist. He's a mad scientist, right?
Yeah.
And so I just think Portland attracts people like that, right? And we asked him, what brought you to Portland? He's like, we always wanted to come out here. I'm a beer person. I always wanted to come to Portland. Duh, it just makes sense, right? I think, I don't know, I think this is a special place, like when I first moved here, I was waving that Colorado flag so hard, just Colorado beer, it's best beer in the world, yada, 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 and it didn't take long for me to just kind of set that flag down and just say, Colorado beer, you are great, but this is something else. This is next level over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I respectfully put this down. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's one thing. I think it's just an overall culture of just acceptance and trying things and being innovative and art and culture and
And it's not just Portland. I mean, Vancouver itself.
I mean, all Washington too.
Oh,
Vancouver, Seattle. I mean, up the Pacific Northwest. This is a hotbed for this.
And there's not that. I mean, it's not like other businesses where you're competing. You're really not. I mean, you are competing.
Yeah.
But they're so friendly here, to each other.
Yeah, I'll say that. It's healthy competition.
It really is.
We are competing. There's no doubt about that. Any brewer tells you, we don't compete. We're just all friends. That's not how
competing.
it is. Yeah, we're competing, but at the same time, it's healthy competition. We're all still friends, right? Like, I'm friends with the people I'm competing with.
Exactly.
And I will tell them, like, I want to make a better beer than you, or I want to do this better than you, or like, I want to be exactly where you are in a year. You got, goddamn it, like,
exactly.
and then we cheers and have beer over it.
Yeah.
Like it's healthy competition is what it is, and I think that's healthy for the market, for the industry, for all of it. I don't know. People always say, like, is it oversaturated? Is it Portland oversaturated? Is Oregon oversaturated? And I'm like, hell no.
That was
like,
my question.
But the question goes further. Is like, what are we talking about here? Like, does everyone want to be Widmer? Does everyone want to be Deschutes? Does everyone want to be 10 barrel? Does everyone want to grow to the mountaintop and do 150,000 barrels a year? Be nationwide, worldwide? Or do you want to service your market? Do you want to service your neighborhood? What do you want out of this, right? Do you want to sign with distribution? Do you want to do self-distribution? Because if we're saying, if everyone wants to try to take over the world, then it is oversaturated, and we don't have room for everyone, right? There's not enough space on the grocery store shelves. There's not enough, there's not enough taps around town, right? But if you want to open up your brewery and invite people into your doors and give people a great space for the community, you can have all the success and wealth that you want if you're running your business correctly, and you never have to put anything in a bottle or a can and put it in a grocery store. You can just have people that come to your place and spend money at your place, like any other restaurant or bar, right? So as far as breweries, you know, we got room for everybody. You know, it's just a matter of how big everybody wants to be. You know, everybody can't be king, and that's one thing you learn in this business is that, you know, you got to strive for the top, but at some, you know, there's a certain point where that triangle starts to get to the point, right? And there's only room for so many at the very top as far as like massive distribution and massive, you know, barrels per year, you know. So it just depends on what you want. But
where does Old Town fall on the spectrum right now as far as being just the neighborhood brewery, come on in, we don't have any distribution, versus being, you know, worldwide? Where are you guys at on the spectrum? And as the director of sales, where are you trying to get to?
Well, we don't mix words with it. We want everything. You know, I mean, we want to be as successful as we possibly can. We want to expand. We want to take our brand everywhere. You know, we would love to be nationwide, worldwide. We would love to. You know, we're currently focused on our market. You know, Oregon and Washington.
Is that your footprint today?
Oregon, Washington, yeah. But for us, our goals are infinite, right? You know, there's no limit on what we try to do, what we want to do. You know, our planning for the future. We're always tinkering. We're always evolving. We're always looking for the next thing. We're always following the trends. We're always looking for that edge. I mean, you know, we are not happy in place, and we are in a better place than we've ever been by far, and we're still not happy. You know,
sure.
I don't think we'll ever be happy. You know, where we're going to always want more. I think there'll be a time when we say, you know, we really did this. You know, but we're ambitious. You know, and that's just what it is. You know, and I think we're as capable and talented. And
what does that look like for you guys? Is that distribution? Is that acquisition? Is that you know, opening more breweries in different places? Where you're at right now? What do you think those next kind of couple steps are over the next couple years to start moving in that direction?
A combo of more locations. So, you know, more barrels per year, and also more distribution throughout the country, right? So there's two traps you can get into where you just jump into any old state and say, we'll ship you this small amount of beer, and it really doesn't make any headway, right? There's a couple breweries who've done it right, I feel like, as far as making brick and mortar locations in our market from out of state, and they've done well. I think just saying, hey, we're from wherever and we're really popular for everyone else, we're coming to Portland, like, doesn't really work that way here. That might work, I think, you know, Pacific Northwest beer travels well, but trying to come into our market and doing that is kind of tricky. So locations is big for us. I think the trends would lend towards you know, sales in-house. I think that's where all breweries really make their money. It's not think, that is where all breweries really make their money. The moment beer leaves your brewery, you're losing money, whether it be package or you know, draft, unless you're self-distribution, right? But even then, we're talking about costs. There's costs to everything. Sure. There's, you know, you got to pay somebody to drive it, pick up your coopers, the whole deal, even if you're self-distribution, right? Like, the real money is made when people walk into your doors and buy beer and enjoy your space, right? And so I think the model moving forward is going to be opening up satellite pubs and locations and breweries in more underserved areas, and allowing,
like East Vancouver, for example.
Like East Vancouver. No, seriously, that's exactly it, right?
I'd love to see you in East Vancouver.
You know, Von Ebert just opened a brewery right near my house, right? And it's a perfect example, okay, because this is a golf course. It used to be, you know, a ringside steakhouse, which, you know, ringside steakhouse just is a staple, but it's kind of pretentious, right? It just says, this is expensive, I can't go here every day, right? But you pop a brewery into that same spot, it's the same shell of a building, you know, they touch some stuff up and put some Von Ebert stuff on it, but, you know, it's way more inviting, right? It's way less expensive, and you go in there any night of the week and it's full of people. I've met a lot of my neighbors there, right? You know, I go there myself, right? Because if you go a mile in almost any direction, there are like no businesses, not just breweries. There are no restaurants. It's just homes, right? And all those people were just crying for something to go to, right? And you can see it every day when you go in there. You're like, this is the whole neighborhood in here, you know. And that location is going to crush just because they had nothing else. So I think underserved locations is a big thing. Once you're established as a brewery, people know who you are. I think the model is to maybe open a third location, maybe open a fourth location, maybe open a fifth location, right? Because that's really where we can grow initially, right? And then you can maybe reinvest that money into distribution rights in different states, or, you know, other locations in other states, right? If you really want to drop down in the South or drop down on the East Coast, right? Because it doesn't make sense to really ship beer out there either, right? But if you have a location there, now you have a point of distribution, and then you can you can work the East Coast.
That.
You know?
The Shoots,
Yeah.
they have a couple East Coast pubs or breweries out there, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird, but same thing. You got to follow the trends, right? Because maybe that was not the clearest path. Let's say 5 years ago. The clearest path 5 years ago was, let's add more tanks in our current spot. You know, let's add more distribution. We need more package. We need 6-packs. We need 12-packs. We need everything else. You know, we know the toys. And now it's kind of back to basics, where it's like, where are we all really making our money? You know, making
seats.
In our seats. Yeah. You know, so.
What role does the pizza play in your business? Is that a big part of it, or is it really a focus on the beer?
And on top of that question,
That's a great
what's
question.
better, your pizza or your beer?
I'm glad you asked that, because you know the beer is better, but the pizza is amazing. Me and Adam were talking about it today, and we think we are the second oldest pizza place in Portland. 44, 45 years now. You know. Old Town Pizza. So it's a staple, right? You know, it's
part of the brand.
It's part of the brand, right?
Totally
it's a tourist
is.
destination, but it's more accepted for us. We're so close to it now, but when we first started as a brewery, we were trying to separate ourselves from that so much, and that's one of those things you look back on now, and the pizza made us stronger, right? Because we had a thing that people liked, but at the same time, when we first started doing this, we were thought of as, I would say, oh, Old Town Brewing. They'd be like, oh yeah, the pizza place, you know. And so I think it made us tougher because we had to work that much harder to differentiate the two things, right? It's like, yes, we make great pizza, but now we make great beer. We make award-winning beer, medals at JBF, medals at World Beer Cup. Like, this isn't a joke. Like, we make good beer. We don't just make it because we have a pizza place, right? You know, like, we want to be known as a great brewery, and separate those two in your minds for now, right? And at some point we can bring it all back together as one happy thing. But you know, early in the game, it made us gristle, man. It made us it sharpened our edges, man. We had to really fight and grind in this industry to be taken seriously, even with, you know, worldwide medals, you know, and clearly making good beer. But people didn't give us a chance, right? And I say that because you know, it's good work if you can get it, right? But if, you know, a lot of these breweries, they open up and they're immediately successful based on the fact that they just opened up. They might have a cool name, they might have a cool brand, and, you know, they're packed to the gills day one,
and
opening day one.
Consumers want something new.
They want
every
something
day.
new. They want something new. Not proven. Beer could be shit.
Doesn't matter.
But they got this shiny new building, and we're coming in, we're going to check it out, and we're going to just fill it up. And we're going to really just give you a chance to fail, right? You know, for us, already being established as a pizza place, it was the opposite, right? We had to grind from day one, as opposed to just open the doors and like, oh, hey, yeah, we're open. Yeah. Let's just sell beer,
Old
you know?
Town, did you just have a bunch of guests or a bunch of other taps?
All guest taps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, before we start brewing.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. People didn't even see it coming, you know.
I did not know.
Adam knew he was going to do it, but people didn't see it coming when Old Town Brewing started. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was, you know, I would argue that, you know, 7 years ago, people thought it was a joke. You know, it was like, no, we're not doing this just to play around. You know, like, this is for real.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think we've proven that, and we've gotten out of that stigma, and there's now people who don't even know that there was a pizza place first. You know, there's like Old Town Brewing. And it's like, that took a lot of work. That took years of work to get to that point, where people weren't just like, oh yeah, the pizza place,
Awesome.
Really cool.
And I think it made us that much, I don't know, it's prepared us for where we are today.
Yeah.
Right? It took a lot of work to get to, a good 2-year run where we're like, everything's looking up,
So you were talking about keeping up with the trends. So whose idea was it for the videos? If I didn't bring this up,
the videos
our
are great.
listeners would be like, why didn't you talk about the videos? Because I want to know.
Beers of Paradise.
So
That was
this is a
Whose
good-
idea?
I don't know how you did that, but this is a perfect segue because it was a part of that separation, right? We were looking at ourselves, we're plotting along, we got distribution, we got bottles in the market, and people are like, oh, I didn't see your stuff on the shelf. It's like, it was right there, Like, how'd you not see it, We were not being noticed, and then you have to take a step back and look at yourself and say, like, how do you stand out in a crowd full of breweries, right? Like, what can you do different, when everyone's doing the same goddamn thing, and we put out a video. It might have been for summer '74. It was a beer we did celebrating our anniversary of Old Town Pizza from inaugurating summer '74. And we did this unbelievable, cool, crazy video, and we had so much fun doing it, and we had such great response. And we were like, Jordan Wilson, he's our creative designer. He had a camera, at the time it was a shitty camera, and we didn't know what the fuck we were doing, and
That sounds familiar.
But it was beautiful because I was having fun. I went to this costume store that was like going out of business, and I got all these like 70s costumes for like 70% off, like great shit, wigs, the whole deal. And we just decked ourselves out, and we just acted for no lines, it was just music and crazy weird clips. Ended up being this great little video, and we were like, maybe this is our thing, right? And obviously marketing and all that's important, but at the same time it was like, no one's doing videos, like no one's doing videos of anything, no instructional videos, no fun videos, and that was. We ended up doing a few more, and people started responding, and like, man, we're getting laughs, people really like this, people are coming in and be like, oh dude, I saw the video. And so that combination of social media and everything else, we were like, this is our thing. We are gonna do this to the point where people know it's our thing, and honestly, at this point now, I feel like people are like, why do more breweries not do videos? And I think, honestly, maybe this is saying too much, but I think it's a pride thing with other breweries at this point, right? Where they're just like, no one wants to copy anyone else, right? And so I think some of the smaller breweries are like, well, we could put a funny video out, but then someone would be like, oh, you're trying to be like Old Town, right? And that's the same thing with like styles of beer, right? Like some brewery comes out with like a really cool, unique style of beer. The second brewery that does it gets shit from everybody.
Interesting.
You're just trying to be like such and such brewery.
That's
That's their style, right? And so our goal was like, let's make so many videos and put so many out, and weekly beer updates and funny stuff to the point where we are known for that, and that will get us in the door and differentiation. And then they try the liquid, and they go, "Oh shit, all this is good." I can get behind all this.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things. It's like, if we can do this and it gets people to the liquid, then we're gold, right? And we're having fun doing it. So if we're having fun doing it, and it makes you go buy an Old Town beer, and you try it, and you go, shit, I really like it. I really like the beer. That was the purpose of the video in the first place, was to just get you to pay attention to us. Like, hey, look at us over here, and it's worked out for us, People didn't even watch our videos early on. Like it was, we'd have these low numbers, and people kind of talk about it, like, we just keep putting them out. Keep putting them out, and eventually people start paying attention.
So is Old Town the biggest right now? Like the most viewed for you?
Probably not. I mean, but we're known for it because we.
No, the Old Town Road, the video.
1,000%.
Right,
Yeah,
like that one.
That thing
huge.
was just nuts. That was our most successful thing we've ever done as far as videos.
I was gonna
Like,
say.
that was just.
It was.
It was perfect
I just
timing.
knew it. I knew it.
It was perfect timing, and it was the #1 song in the country for like 8-9 weeks in a row at that point. And it was like, all of a sudden it was like Old Town, like they're literally using our fucking name.
I
Like,
know.
You
You have to do it.
We would be irresponsible to not spoof this thing. You know what I'm saying? And we were actually coming up with another video for another beer we were putting out, a barrel aged series that we're doing, and we were like doing the writing on it. And we all got on the phone, and I was like, okay, what do you guys feel about doing an Old Town Road video? Like, it could be hilarious, And Jordan was like, of course, like, absolutely. And Adam was like, oh, that's that new song everybody wants. Let's do it, Mm-hmm. And so we put the other video on the shelf because we were like, this song could be nothing in a week. Just how fast trends move. It's number one right now. It's everyone's listening to it. We got to do it now. And so we ended up we shot it like the next week. I mean, Jordan edited in like 2 days, and we put it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So good.
So.
Man, that's awesome.
Ended up being a hit.
It was funny.
It was great. Yeah.
Well, I hate to ask a serious question in the midst of all that, but who are the Brooders?
That is awesome.
Our Stormbreaker family. They are the Brooders, the Brooders at Arms.
That is awesome.
We actually there's a new collaboration category at GABF, Great American Beer Festival, this year, and we're collaborating with them. And we saw the category, and it doesn't take away from your normal number.
Oh.
So it's just one you can add on. And so we were like, man, we got to jump in this collaboration thing. We're like, what? Stormbreaker? Like, number one, like, just on top, we got to ask them. And they were like, hell yeah, we're in. So we're like, reviving the, refreshing the thing, like, right as it opened, like, because there's only a certain amount of spots in the collaboration thing. And so we got in, and so we're doing a chocolate IPA.
Whoa!
What? Yeah.
Chocolate IPA?
Yeah, it's amazing. I said the same thing, where they were like batting around ideas, and I was like, is that gonna work? But it's fucking great. It works, it's like anything else you hear, like, it's like chicken and waffles, First time you hear that, you're like, really? And then you have, like, okay, I get it, this is good. And then we're doing a couple other beers that we're gonna kind of do together, but yeah, those are the Brooders, man. That was a whole. The video was fun. The actual release was fun. We rented all those like renter scooters, and we invited a bunch of people, and then we had like a scooter army.
How many people did you have?
We must have had 40, 50 people.
Oh my goodness!
That scootered from Old Town to Stormbreaker,
right?
And we went down. Where did we go? And I was driving. Okay, so I was like the lead. So I blocked off the road, and so we're going down Alberta, and then we make a left on Mississippi there, and all these people it just started. The sun started going down, so like the little lights come on the scooters, and all of a sudden 40, 50 people drunk on scooters just kind of like woo, like coming down the hill, and I'm leading them like
yeah, that's good.
And I'm like honking the horn, like everybody's like people eating dinner like. What's happening here? It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it was a great beer. It was a fantastic beer.
Man.
Yeah.
Is collaboration something that's becoming more frequent amongst brewers? It seems like every time I see something new coming out, it's a collaboration of multiple brewers. Tell us more about how that works. I mean,
I think it's really important. We've started taking on a lot of collaborations recently because it does two things, right? It allows two brewers to get to know each other. People learn things from other brewers, little tricks and tips they didn't realize before. But I think the community loves it, right? I think the beer drinkers love when they see two of their favorite breweries come together, right? Like, oh, I didn't even know they knew each other. They brewed a beer together. Like I gotta try it, right?
I'm sorry, we're drinking all your beer, but you brought enough.
I think we're good.
Oh my goodness!
Looks like there's plenty of beers. We'll be all right.
I gotta say,
Pillow fist for the world,
I really like
Pillow fist for the world. Hashtag pillow fist for the world.
I'm telling you, after having the other one and then tasting this again, you can really taste how balanced Pillow Fist is. It's so balanced.
It's not fair. Like I said, I'm completely biased, but it is my favorite beer. I love that beer.
Great beer.
Kudos to the designer too, because I gotta say this label is.
Oh, we gotta talk about that
classy.
too.
Yeah.
It just looks nice.
Yeah.
So it's a great segue, Cantaloupe.
Shout out Jordan. There's a whole other thing as far as the videos and everything else. It's like, how do we stand out? And we had a very art-driven design scenario with our 22s and the packaged beers that we put out, which we thought were incredible. But then we just kind of realized like the trends were going towards more clean labeling and organized labeling, right? You need to see it on a shelf, particularly if you had 3 or 4 SKUs or whatever it was, or more, and they needed to look like they belonged together, right? You didn't want 3 or 4 and think it was 3 or 4 different breweries, and which it's so crazy. It's how it happens, right? And there were a couple breweries that we looked at in particular that just did it in a very nice way. Some of them were a little too simple for us, and some of them were a little too crazy for us. But at the same time, we were like, we can maybe meet that right in the middle. And so we would, we did this little composite things of it's like a color board, right? And, it's like a beer wall, and you just have these colors that pop out, and so everything's so bright and vibrant, and everything else right now. And there would just be these dead zones. There'd be like a negative zone, there'd be a negative zone, and we were kind of finding like that's where your eyes gravitate towards, right? Because everything is so busy and everything is so loud and colorful and crazy artwork, which is fantastic. I love that everyone does it, but at the same time, like I said, we're trying to figure out how to stand out. Some big brewery doing that works great for them, right? Because people are looking for their brewery anyway. We're like, how do people's eyes just drag to us, And so the negative space was kind of where it was. So you're talking about your blacks and your whites. So you throw a little color in, but your flat black on there, a row of black, your eye goes boom in a sea of color, right? And that was really where we went with the concept, and we decided, to make it clean, make it easy to read, make the Stag, very front and center, just because, we fought hard for that Stag.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah,
So talk about that fight. What does that mean? You had to fight hard for the Stag.
We almost lost the Stag. The city of Portland tried to take the Stag from us several times, actually, and it was all behind closed doors. We didn't let anybody know. It wasn't public news knowledge. We knew in house, obviously, but and then I think it was, the fourth time. Adam was just kind of like, something has to change. Like, this can't keep happening. And the Limit Week did an article on it, and it really just spread like wildfire. And the beer community basically just kind of came to our rescue.
Oh man!
I mean, it was nuts. I mean, we were fighting this thing on our own for so long, and then the article came out in early November, and the whole dispute after 2 years of battling with these guys was over by the end of January, early February.
So for those who may not know or understand the connection between the city of Portland and your logo,
yes,
can you back up just a hair and talk about that connection and why the city of Portland tried to do that?
So Adam has owned the rights to the Stag for, I don't know, 8-9 years now, maybe more. I don't know, for a long time. I guess when he got it, it was pretty simple. No one was fighting over it. It was out there, no one really cared. And then the city, they own the physical sign, the physical Portland sign, right? And because they own the sign, they felt that they owned the right to use the Stag and own the Stag, even though they didn't have the rights to it. And because of that, so if you just take a step back with the sign, all the sign is you can't trademark a shape of a city or the name of a city or state, right? So if you remove the outline of the state, and Portland, Oregon, all you have is the Stag and Old Town. That's all that's left. and we own both of those, right? And so because they own the entire sign, they felt they had the right to the entire thing. And really what it comes down to is all you're really looking for is the right to the Stag. The symbol itself, you can't trademark any of that, right? And I just think, what I think they didn't think we were as persistent and strong-willed as we were, and I think they thought we would just roll over. They thought Adam would just roll over, and Adam's a fighter, what I'm saying? And you try to do something like that, take something from him, challenge him in that way, he's coming at you, and it was a challenge, and it got to a point where Adam had sunk a lot of money into defending this thing, and it ended very quickly with the support of the beer community, because once it got out there and people knew that this was happening, I mean, it was everybody. The brewing community threw a rally party at the brewery, for support, and we had signatures of the mayor. You had the news stations chasing the representatives up the, city hall steps, being like, "What? Can we get a story? Your response on record? Trying to steal the Stag from a small business in Portland. And not only that, a brewery. It's like against everything that Portland is.
Exactly.
Reverend Nat. Rogue Nation, Dharma at Rogue, they put a decree out to Rogue Nation and basically banned all city officials from going into any Rogue location.
You've got to be kidding!
Anywhere,
that is awesome.
Anywhere in the country until this thing was resolved. Literally banned all city officials from Rogue Nation, from any Rogue location until, like, you know. And at the time, we didn't know Dharma that well.
Yeah.
We didn't know Rogue that well, right? But they came to our defense, like, you know, put out a decree to Rogue Nation, like, this is for all city. And then of course it went viral as a tweet, you know, and it was like, holy shit. And then here comes Rev Nat, and he's like, you know, going public, he's doing interviews, you know, and it's just like, you know, we have to support Old Town, like, because this could be any one of us tomorrow, right? You know, it's like, if we don't support Old Town, it's going to be another one of us tomorrow that they're just taking something from, you know, and we got to have each other's back. And there's people we had never even talked to, people we've never even met, and they came to our defense. They showed up at our things, and we got to know them, and we did collaborations with the whole thank you collaboration tour after, you know, for like a lot of supporters who were there for us at the time. But it was great, man. But it was touch and go for a long time. We didn't know if we were going to be able to keep the Stag, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we had all the rights to it, you know. But power, there's a lot of power leaning down on Old Town.
I like that a person could go into a store, see the Stag,
Yeah.
and choose and look at the color and say, "That's my beer."
Exactly. I think getting people to know the brand first, you know, with the flagships, and say, okay, here's 5 beers on a shelf, and you know it's all, it's a banner. You know, 5 beers create a banner.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Then you can start playing around, you know. But once it kind of shifted, we rebranded everything. We painted the building. We painted the whole brewery. I mean, we did everything. I mean, people thought we were a new brewery after we did this. People would come in and be like, oh, you guys are that new brewery. We painted the building. Oh, you talking about a new brewery on MLK? Like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
What do you want to hear?
Brand new brewery. Tell your friends. Brand new brewery on MLK. Yeah. But it's amazing what just, you know.
It took 9 years to be an overnight success.
Exactly, right. But it just made us stronger, man. You know, just made us stronger. Yeah.
I'd like to get your take as a beer industry insider. What's your reaction when you hear of independent breweries getting bought out by big beer? Equally curious to what your reaction is when you start to see consolidation among the independents, i.e. Dogfish Head and Boston Brewing.
Sam Adams, yeah.
And I'm curious if Old Town has ever faced that decision with big beer, if that's ever been put in front of you.
I'll go backwards.
Perfect.
So, big beer, no. We've never been approached by any big beer. We don't think we'd ever sell. I mean, this is our lives. This is who we are. We're so invested in this. You know, I will finish that part of it in just a minute on the third part. But no, we've never been approached. You know, I don't know if we're on anybody's radar, you know, to be honest with you. We're not that big. But when other breweries get together, you know, like you say, your Dogfish, you know, and create these conglomerates, that is survival. And we've been seeing this trend a lot all over the country, but, you know, these breweries who grew to a giant size, you know, much bigger, quicker than maybe they should have, they get to a point where they're like, man, we should have stopped one expansion ago, you know, and just let that ride, you know, because so our market is getting more saturated, right? Like I said, there's still plenty of room, but the country's getting more saturated, and there's breweries popping up everywhere, and so it's crowded. And these big breweries that could just sell beer all day, all night, they're starting to lose some of their market share, and it's terrifying, right? And if they're not necessarily as relevant or cool as the new thing that everyone has to have, all of a sudden the big established brewery that was once the king is all of a sudden having to make decisions, right? And hard decisions like, what do we do? And I think smartly, one of the best things to do is to team up, right? Team up with another craft brewery, team up with someone else, create a conglomerate, create something where all of your resources and your talents and your brewing skills can come together, and we all move forward together. We all make the right decisions together. We all got some skin in this game. It's not just us losing our own ass. If we fuck up, we lose your ass too, you know? And I think that is the future of the big craft beer industry, is creating these teams, right? These conglomerates where, you know, the checks and balances become more spread around, and everyone just has to take everyone has to take a beat and really start to think about what's best for the entire group, right?
And when you say that, you mean independents merging with other independents.
With other independents. And then the third, this is one that's always messed with me. So when I first moved here, it was not long after one of the more popular breweries in the state sold to Anheuser-Busch, right?
Yeah.
And because Portland is so keep Portland weird, fun loving, we love all our stuff, right? We love all the things that we support. Everyone shit on them right away. And being new to the city, I was kind of like, okay, but like why, right? People, but a lot of people just took pride in that, and it was a sellout thing, right? But for me, I think it's wildly hypocritical. I think it's wildly hypocritical for anyone to judge any business, any small business who has found their way to a point where their ultimate payday, their ultimate success story moment has happened. It's coming, it's in their face, and they decide to take it. I don't think you can blame anyone for that. And I don't think it's so easy to say, oh, you sell out when you don't have, $1 billion, $500 million check in front of your face, right? So you tell me how many people are ready and willing to say no to $500 million to give up half of their company. Not even all of it, right? I would argue that there's not many out there, right? And so then you're thinking to yourself, like, are you not going to take $1 billion, $500 million, $100 million because you think you're going to make some people mad? Like, that's not a great decision either. That's ridiculous either, right? So like, there's only one right answer unless you think you can achieve what you are getting in the form of a check on your own. And if you think you can do that on your own, if you think you can earn $500 million, $1 billion in the next 5 to 10 years, if you think your business plan stretches you to that place, then you just hold pat. And you say, you know what, we got this. And breweries have done that. And some of them are actually pretty successful at doing that, right? They made the right decision by saying no. But every brewery doesn't, that writing's on the wall for every brewery. Some breweries are in trouble, right? Or the numbers aren't starting to add up the way they think they should, right? And someone comes and says, hey, we love your brand, we love your beer, we want to take this nationwide, worldwide, and we're going to cut you a fat ass check. You get to keep half of it or 30% of it. What do you think? Most people are gonna say yes, even if you gotta ruffle some feathers, like I don't know.
Do you think a lot of it though? I mean, a lot of that is jealousy. I mean, you
jealousy,
know what
right?
I'm talking about. That's exactly what it is. I've heard other breweries and brewers talk about that, but I'm like thinking what you were saying.
Yeah.
You say that when the check is in front of you.
Yeah.
Being offered.
I just
like you're gonna be like, no, sir, no, I refuse.
It's easy to say we'd never sell out, right? And if you don't, great for you. That's awesome that you have so much, conviction in what you're doing to not sell out. But if you do sell out, great for you, right? Like you are a success story, no matter what, right? You one way or another, you're gonna continue to do what you want to do. You can take that money and open another brewery, 10 other breweries. You do whatever you want, right? It's like these are false constraints. These are false,
Well, and
things in my opinion.
The one
you can't judge
the one that you're talking about
being successful.
That was bought by Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah,
they were allowed more freedom with their brewing.
Yes.
So it's like they were like, hey, look, we want to get your beer out there more.
Yeah. You're
free to make your beer. We don't care. We're helping you distribute.
And a lot of these deals are like that. Rarely is it 100% give us everything all day. And you have no you have no choice in this. Usually people get to still keep part of their brewery, some influence on the brew process, whatever.
Do you still consider them part of the family of breweries?
Yes.
Would you ever collaborate with that brewery?
Yes and no. Yes, I would absolutely collaborate. Yes, but as far as considering them as on a different tier, I think it's just kind of for us facing reality as breweries that we're not on a different tier. You have a $10 million marketing budget. We got me and another guy and a camera and a computer.
And some really good ideas.
And some great ideas and some nice editing software, and we're banging this shit out, right? These other guys got whole marketing teams and, whole other companies coming in and camera crews and the whole deal. And, you name it. There's money is not an object for some. So on that level, it's just, it's apples and oranges, right? We're not the same anymore, right? But are you still brothers in brew? Yes. Like we can still collaborate,
I get
right?
what you're saying.
We can still hang out. I'm not gonna snub you at some beer festival or anything like that because they're ultimately just good people. A perfect example is the brewery we're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna say the name.
I know.
But like that brewery in town and their brewer is a fucking badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everyone loves this person. You know what I'm saying? So like no one associates this brewer as like, oh, you're a sellout big beer person. It's like, oh, she's just part of the community. She's an awesome collective part of the community. So it's like on the lower level, it's all the same.
Yeah.
On the big level, it's like
the macro. Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. Like you guys are rich and we're not.
Yeah.
So you guys can do more than we can.
But as consumers, I want to support the community.
Absolutely.
I want to support independent craft brewers. What you're about and what a lot of your peers are about is what I want to support.
Yeah.
Do you feel, and this is a terribly leading question, do you feel that consumers should take that into account when they're making a purchase? If I'm looking at Anheuser-Busch backed,
Absolutely.
whomever, and an Old Town brew, and maybe let's not even say Old Town, let's say it's Trapdoor.
Yeah.
Let's say it's whoever.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Should I take that into account and say, I love this beer? I'll give you a perfect example. My home beer for a long time was Citrus Mistress.
Yeah.
Hub Valley.
Yeah.
I didn't actually even realize they had been bought out.
Yeah.
And the minute I realized they got bought out, I stopped buying their beer.
Yeah.
Love that beer.
Yeah.
It's great beer. Come home from a day of work, put down 2 or 3 of those. Easy drinking, delicious, always on sale. Now I know why they were always on sale.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't bought one since I realized that they were bought out. I mean, is that the right decision for me? Is it about the beer, or is it about the larger community and trying to support what it is you all are after?
I think it's 1,000% about the beer, and it's 1,000% about the community being able to make the decisions that they want, and that conclusion is a perfectly reasonable conclusion. It's the same conclusion I would make. If I wasn't in the beer industry, I would do the same thing, right? And something I always say about big breweries, to other people is like, they don't need your help anymore, right? Right. It's like they still exist. They're gonna be just fine, right? Like like they got the backing of a large machine behind them now. They don't need your help anymore. Like we all still need your help. We still all need your support. So it's one of those things where it's like, as a consumer, I totally understand when a consumer is just like, I'm going to support the small guy still, and I'm not going to buy such and such brewery anymore. Like, it's totally understandable. I would do the same thing, but I also understand that other brewery is big enough where they don't need my help anymore.
So let me build on that real quick. So, as a consumer, if I like you, like Joe, I love you, dude. You're awesome. I love Old Town.
Thank you. Love you too.
My goal, and I'm a business owner, so my goal is I want to see you guys succeed.
Yeah.
And whatever success is for you, if that means, quote unquote, air quotes, selling out, then that's good on you. I would never have that feeling like, but I might be an anomaly.
Yeah, I mean,
but you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, said brewery
yes,
has not lost any steam.
No, not even a little bit.
People weren't up in arms at first.
Yeah.
But now they sell just as much more beer than anybody. Still,
There's a region that was up in arms.
Yes, it was.
Now they're in new regions.
Who
are experiencing their beer. So the loss of people who are here who are upset about it.
That's it.
Can move on to other options. Whereas they're picking up steam elsewhere as well. So.
I mean it's.
Yeah.
Your supporters and your fans, the people who brought you up.
That's what I'm saying.
From the bottom.
Exactly. Like,
will generally maybe stay with you, but if they don't, and they take that support and love to another brewery who needs that pull up, it's okay. It's okay if you buy Old Town instead of XYZ behemoth, right?
Right.
Their feelings won't be hurt.
No,
Their feelings won't be hurt.
They got
Like
that
I
big
said,
check.
I always say that they don't need your help anymore. That's all encompassing, right? Like that's with everything. That's that's with money, with purchase. Like they're gonna get all the handles. They're gonna get all the placement. They have that much power now, and no matter any aspect of it, they don't need your help anymore. Period. They're gonna be all right. The checks have been cut. The deals have been signed. Like.
Yeah,
they're gonna be all right.
That's why you were like yes and no.
Yeah,
Still my
and if you still like some style that they make, buy it. It's all good. But like throw more back into the small breweries.
I get it.
Who are looking to make something themselves.
Yep, absolutely.
That's all. You don't gotta not drink the stuff.
Yeah, some of the stuff is really good.
If you like it, drink it, right? Let's get it there. If they got something they make that's your favorite thing ever, fucking drink it, right? Just drink some other people's stuff too. Yeah.
Come down to your place and drink it.
There you go. It's all good. It's all good.
Let's charge a corkage fee.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. I think it's time.
I know. All right. So every guest gets this one question.
Okay.
It's the final question of the day.
Okay.
Joe, you have one ticket. First class. By train, by air, by sea. Mm-hmm. Where are you going to go and why? Anywhere in the world. Where and why?
Where and why? That is a great question. I'm going to have to say... Ooh, this is tough.
Take all the time you need. We can edit it all.
I have so many different places, but for different reasons.
Ooh.
But one of the main reasons that drives me is food. So I'm going to say Japan.
Whoa.
To eat.
You like sushi?
I love seafood. I love all things. I love all things crustaceans. I'm actually allergic to scaled fish. I'm the opposite of most people.
Wow.
It's really weird. Any of my friends who listen to this, they'll be like, "Yeah, fucking Joey, allergic to fish." But give me some Dungeness all day. Give me anything with a shell. Anything that doesn't have scales, I can eat.
So when you played in Alaska, you must have loved Alaska.
Oh yeah, we went. We were in Juneau, and we went down and had fresh, Alaskan king crab, and it was amazing. But just food. I need to be near food. Yeah. Great food experience. I want some street food. I want to get in there with the people, and that whole thing.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
So another part of that question, let's say to bring it home. So,
But why? Yeah,
but you understand what I'm saying. The late great Anthony Bourdain. Okay. I thought Anthony Bourdain had the best job of all time.
By far.
Like, I don't know if there's ever been a better career choice than what he got to do for a living. He got to travel and meet people and drink beer and eat the most amazing food. And so that's kind of the experience I'm looking for, in life in general, is more of an Anthony Bourdain during his life type experience, where it's just good vibes, good people, good food, good energy, and everybody's having a good time in some place you've never been before.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Well, Joe, I think you've got one of the best jobs.
Oh, dude.
No, I'm not knocking my job.
Look, man, you get to sell beer in Portland, and that's a special thing. And you spending this time with us has been amazing. So thank you so much.
It's been a blast. It's absolutely a blast.
If people want to find out more about Old Town or about Joe, what's the best way to get?
So otbrewing.com, Instagram. Our Instagram is hilarious. If you want to check it out, we put a lot of work and energy into it. It's just at Old Town Brewing. Same thing with Facebook. We actually have a YouTube channel. If you just like to watch the videos and you don't want all the fluff, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Old Town Brewing. That's probably the easiest way to see the Old Town Road video. If you haven't seen it, it's just funny, and you get to see a bunch of other people's spoofs. But then we got 2 locations, so MLK and Sumner, but I would say MLK in Alberta because no one really knows what Sumner is. But basically right there, MLK and Sumner in the Vanport Square is our brewery location, and then downtown 3rd and Davis is the original location, the Pizza House. We got all our beers on tap there as well. Swag, growlers, crawlers to go, the whole thing. pizza, pasta, sandwiches, the whole deal. So come support us. Come be with us. Come have fun with us. Enjoy our space because we built it and did it all for you. So.
Go down, do yourself a favor, and go get yourself a pillow fist and a slice of pizza. It's well worth it. Thank you again for joining us. Today we drank the Old Town Pillow Fist Hazy IPA. That was the beer that Joe brought. Angie's mystery beer was the Silver City Brewery Ripe and Juicy Double IPA. Silver City, of course, out of
Seattle, right?
Out of Silver City, out of Bremerton, Washington.
Bremerton. Shout out Bremerton.
Yes, sir.
Where can they find us, Jonathan?
Visit us at bizoverbeer.com. That's B-I-Z over beer. And find us on Facebook and Twitter at bizoverbeer. Thank you again to our guest, Joe. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, KNOPP. I'm down with you as always, brother.
I like it.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Our theme song is Idiocracy by Christian Leo. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer.